community, adding that he is exploring opportunities to invest in key sectors of the Nigerian economy, including energy, infrastructure, and aviation. During the meeting, President Tinubu commended Ogunlesi for his remarkable global achievement and reiterated his administration's commitment to creating a business-friendly environment that will attract both local and foreign investments. Also speaking, the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, stated that the government's economic reforms are laying a solid foundation for an export-driven economy. He explained that Nigeria's long-term prosperity depends on expanding its productive base and boosting non-oil exports. Adedeji emphasized that the fiscal and tax reforms championed by President Tinubu will enhance revenue generation, reduce dependence on crude oil, and create a more diversified and resilient economy capable of competing globally.
The Executive Secretary of the African Tax Administration Forum, Mary Bain, recently led a delegation on a courtesy visit to the Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Dr. Zach Adedeji, at the FIRS headquarters in Abuja. The team commended Nigeria's ongoing tax reforms, noting that they align with ATAF's mission of promoting Africa-focused strategies for improved revenue generation. Swateku has that report.
In his remark, Dr. Adedeji reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to supporting ATAF's initiatives, stressing the importance of collaboration in tax policy harmonization, research, and capacity building. He also emphasized the need for stronger regional partnerships to address challenges such as illicit financial flows, narrow tax bases, and the dominance of the informal sector in African economies. Both parties discussed key continental tax initiatives, including efforts to combat base erosion and profit shifting, enhance transfer pricing regulations, and boost domestic revenue mobilization to fund Africa's development goals. The meeting ended with a shared commitment to building fair, transparent, and people-centered tax systems across the continent.
The chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, PCF-PTR, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, has described the value-added tax, VAT, as a pro-masses tax under Nigeria's new tax regime. He said these measures were designed to ease the financial burden on ordinary Nigerians while ensuring that those who can afford more contribute a fair share. Ejura Etu Opanachi has the report.
Speaking during a visit by the Communication and Liaison Department as part of the Federal Inland Revenue Service Tax Thursday program, Oyedele explained that the revised tax system effective January 1, 2026 exempts essential goods and services such as food, healthcare, education, transportation, and housing. Oyedele also announced a major reprieve for manufacturers, revealing that under the new tax regime, the government will bear the impact of VAT on plants, machinery, vehicles, and other essential production assets. He emphasized that the reform allows manufacturers to reclaim any VAT paid on these items, thereby promoting industrial growth and reducing production costs. Small businesses, he added, are also exempt from VAT obligations, a move aimed at supporting their growth and sustainability. Highlighting the importance of compliance, Oyedele warned against VAT evasion and noted that the new legislation imposes stiffer penalties for non-remittance. He stated that VAT remains one of Nigeria's top revenue sources, benefiting states and local governments that are closest to the people. He urged FIRS staff to familiarize themselves with the new tax laws and work collectively to build a more equitable and business-friendly tax system that bridges the gap between the poor and the rich.
And that's a wrap on the news. Let's join Mariam on the Vox Pop segment.
Hello and welcome. My name is Mariam Julde Adura. We're in Utako, a busy hub in the city of Abuja. We seek to find out If a company sells shares and makes a profit in 2026, will they be required to pay tax? Want to know more? Come. Is a company required to pay tax after selling shares and making a profit in 2026?
Yes, they are expected to pay. But the only thing is that those transactions should not be less than 250 million, and the gain should not be less than 10 million.
Okay.
Yes, but if it's more than 10 million, the gain is more than 10 million, and the share is more than 250 million, they will pay tax on it.
Well, it's according to Section 34 of the Nigerian Tax Act, they are required to pay tax except where the profit is less than 10 million naira.
Is a company required to pay tax in 2026 after selling shares and making a profit?
No, a company will not pay tax in 2026 after selling shares, making profits from shares sold in 2026.
According to NTA, in 2026, if a company sells shares, they are not entitled to pay tax. But however, if a company sells shares above 150 million, the company will be liable to tax in NTA 2026.
Okay, NTA, what do you mean by NTA?
Nigerian Tax Act.
Okay. So you said 150 million. 150 million units of shares or 150 million
naira what? Yeah.
Is a company required to pay tax when they sell shares and make a profit in 2026?
Yes, a company will be required to pay tax if the aggregate disposal proceeds is over 150 million, or if the entire profit is less than 10 million.
Did you know if shares you sold are not more than 150 million naira in value and the gain is not above 10 million naira, you are exempted from paying tax? For more information, please visit www.firs.gov.ng.
Ashu Abe takes us on the Knowledge Zone.
Hello, welcome to Knowledge Zone, where we dive deeper into interesting conversations had on the streets. I remain your host, Ashu Abe. The question today is, if you sell shares and make a profit, will you pay tax in 2026? If you, as an individual, sell shares in a Nigerian company in 2026 and the aggregate proceeds from your disposal in a 12-month period are less than 150 million, and your gain from those disposal is 10 million naira or less, then no tax is payable on that gain. If either the proceeds exceeds 150 million or the gain exceeds 10 million naira or both, then the gain is taxable and you will pay tax at your personal income tax rate since you are an individual. If you're a company selling shares, then higher thresholds do not apply in the same way. The company tax rate applies. Also, if you invest the proceeds within the same year into shares of Nigerian companies, you may still benefit from an exemption or deferral for the portion reinvested. Over to you, Lore.
And now to our professional insight segments.
As the special advisor to the executive chairman on facility management, building and infrastructure, my role essentially is to ensure that the mandate of the chairman, both in advisory and supervisory capabilities, are delivered to line behind our mandates. And you will know the mantra of the service essentially around people, process, and technology, that for the management, the people, now staff and taxpayer, are of very significant importance in the mix, in the entire mix. So having a workplace that is decent enough, that is conducive, that is safe, is very important. And when we talk about infrastructure, we're talking about the physical structures and all related amenities that will ensure that our workplace is decent, is habitable, is comfortable, is modern, and is safe. So this passion point is extremely of importance, and my role is to ensure that we line every resource available at the departmental level behind the mandate of the chairman in this context, and to make sure that we deliver on the objective. That project was initiated some 14 years ago, and when this administration came on board, it was at about 58% completion. That was about 2 years ago. And it's been the dream of everybody in FRS to move to the new building. Incidentally, a few things have happened in the last month, the last 6 months. One of the major highlights is the transitioning from current FRS to NRS, which is of national importance, not just to the members of staff, but to the country, to the nation as a whole. So that puts a lot more pressure on the need to deliver on this legacy project, right? If you think about it, that 2 years ago, the project was at 58% completion in 12 years. And now we have a mandate to deliver it by the end of this year. But interestingly, the executive chairman has taken a lot of bold steps, very audacious steps, and his mandate on that project is very clear. The mandate is to deliver the project by the end of the year. By the grace of God today, the project is about 95% completed. And if you look at the mileage that we've achieved in the last 2 years to move it from 58 to 95, I think that's quite significant. Yes, you will agree with me that the building is very big. So think about having 16 floors, or 16 suspended floors on 3 wings. That's 54, excluding the ground floor and the basement and the 10-story multi-level car park. You will agree with me that there's still a lot that needs to happen. If you look at where the project is now and where we're going, there's still a lot that needs to happen. And then therefore, we're going to be having the project delivered by the end of the year. But in terms of occupancy for member of staff, for a building that can accommodate maybe about 3,500 people, to be able to finish the furnishing and to be able to move people into the place and settle them down seamlessly without obstructing our day-to-day operation will take some time. So I think moving into the building, if I want to preempt your question, will take us about a quarter, maybe between January and March, because people have to be seamlessly settled into the building and all the paraphernalia of operation has to be ready. First and foremost, I sympathize with the families of those that passed in that very unfortunate but avoidable incident. I think as a service, and I think as a country, I think we lost some of our friends, we lost some of our relatives, and it's very unfortunate. But again, like I said, it's avoidable. One underpinning factor is the fact that the building was rented by FRS. Even though we're not the only occupant, but we were tenants in that building. For our owned buildings, we have very sophisticated, up-to-date, modern firefighting equipment and systems. So I make bold to say that that couldn't have happened in a building that is owned by FRS, because our systems are up to date, and we also do trainings for people. We also do demos and all of that. We take the safety of our staff at our buildings, our workplace very seriously, and it's of paramount to the executive chairman. But I tell you, for example, in the new building that we're putting up, for a building that can take as many as 3,500 people, as many as 463 vehicles, you agree with me that it's important that we prioritize it as we have always done, none of it. So that is no exception. We have very, very standardized fire fighting equipment and safety systems in that building, like we have in all of our other buildings. We also ensure that we have very well integrated evacuation plan and muster points in the building, just like we have in other buildings. And this is of a high importance to us. So think about the building as a physical infrastructure. It is just brick and mortar, basic. For the NRS of the future, for the NRS that we have now, what we need is a smart office. So having a brick and mortar, very big and fancy office complex serves no purpose, really, because there's a lot of technology infusion that has gone into the mix. And when I started earlier, I told you about our mantra, people, process, and technology. What makes that office place is the technology that brings the ease of operating into bear, that infuse into the structure. I think it's important to state that the building is not just your regular office complex. There's a lot that's gone into that mix to make it, first and foremost, safe, conducive. Number three, to also ensure that it enhances work-life balance for the members of staff. And more importantly, to make it easy for taxpayers to interface with FRS or with NRS, as the case may be. For us, our office is not just the headquarters. As a matter of fact, the headquarters is a support service base, really. Most of the operations happen elsewhere, right? And think about it, that we have about 263 offices across Nigeria. And what we have done, we've literally replicated some of the initiatives that we have implemented at the head office in all of these places to at least migrate from our reliance on, fossil fuel, diesel, which not only is expensive, but also can be damaging to our environment. And the chairman is very passionate about green energy. So one of the things we've done is to introduce solar as a source of power in our offices across the country. And as at my last count, we've rolled this out in over 72% of our offices nationwide in the last 18 months. For our offices across Nigeria, we've also we've given a second thought to the configuration of the workplace environment. So I give you an example: furniture. If you go to many of our offices, you'll see that we've rethought the way our furnishing is being done to ensure that it brings modernity, it brings trendiness to bear across board. Naturally, even as Nigerians, maintenance is not essentially an integrated part of our culture. And we see that across our national landscape. So first thing is, how do we help people unlearn that non-maintaining culture and make them learn, and these are adults, right? And make them learn the culture and imbibe the culture of maintaining or paying attention to things. So you walk past a place and you see a death on the floor and you just move on as if it's not your business. It is your business. The environment is our business. And making our workplace safe and tidy is everybody's business. So facility management is our collective responsibility. How then do we use technology to be able to enhance this behavior? So when we have facility management officers, they also need to be trained. They also need to understand the emerging trend. They also need to be exposed to the possible challenges before those things even happen. And this way you can mitigate some problems or safety issues that may come up. Baby steps, certain problems, but yes, we are making progress.
Over to Swateku for what's on the net.
Good day and welcome to What's on the Net. My name is Joyce Swateku. At IMX is asking, I'm trying to register on your portal as a new taxpayer so as to get my TIN, but I am unable to do that. What could be wrong? At IMX, there must be a technical problem as to why your registration is giving you issues. It could be from OTP validation and server network related issues. Kindly visit the nearest tax office to collect your TIN. At Dorcas_Jerry is asking, was asked to pay 1 million naira for TIN validation. At FIRH Nigeria, is this true? It's unfortunate that taxpayers go through a lot just to get registered. I thought it was supposed to be for free. At FIRS, kindly take note. At Dorcas, the Federal Inland Revenue Service has clarified that tax identification number registration, validation, and updates are completely free. The agency emphasized it will never request payment for these services. The only payments required from companies are statutory taxes such as company income tax, education tax, value-added tax, and withholding tax, which must be made using a generated payment reference number, either online or at banks. The service says all office services remain free to support business growth and compliance. Over to you, Laurie.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Tax File. Thank you for staying with us. We hope you are living with fresh insights to guide you through the ever-evolving tax space. Don't forget you are part of this conversation too. Join us online, share your opinions, and let us know what questions or topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Until next time, I am Laurie Balahassan. Stay informed, stay engaged, and keep watching Tax File. FIRS, simplifying tax, maximizing revenue.
Baba komi ya pati ta zauna idan ga laida shaulan kwana. Kwana laida mai da rani ka dubaran giya. Baba da tiyo tamba ulun baba. Kwana laida mai da rani ka dubaran giya. Baba mashi waliyan Allah kuma jikan waliyan Allah ya Allah je kan dan san wai da mulka da auto tsohon sarki bana da ya mai da bashar Allah je kan dan san wai da mun kada auto har kuma Musa kwana lafiya mai daura je ka mamman ba kwan mutanen Borno da Gombe da Yola can Adamawa kwana lafiya mai daura je ka da ka sauka Bauchi Muhammadu sai ka kai ne na gaja sawa kwana lafiya mai daura je ka Muhammadu tamba sai sarki kwana lafiya mai daura je ka na sauka Kaduna birnin gwamna na yi zaton ba shari'a sauka dan mamuda bai komo ba gani gidan kaji kan audu tare da ni da yan yaran nan gama kaɗa da kuyan amshi hanna fara ɗan sai sare kin gida ya ce mani tashi ubanka bai komo ba kwana lafiya mai daura je ka sannan sai na ɗauko hanya gani zage na murna yambiyar ne Kano na murna yara bale motan dan bacca gana ka zaure na talban mu zaura za ne sauka gamma ina ganshi ran kwana sai ka tsena modernin dukko da ka tsena modernin dukko kaura za ne sauka in huta in zarce ko sau ingan sakwato za ne birnin sheku ina kwana na yi ziyara sannan in wuce a rugungun in kwana so ba ne don bunkizi kwana lafiya mai daura jiga ina ishe ba gudan bunkifen in kwana so ba ga fashen kiri kwana lafiya mai daura in baya ga kai ba sharɗan umaru da na daina ɗan kwana lafiya mai daura ne ba idan kwaga ka ina gani ɗan umaru ban iya daina ɗan
Latin gobe gwamnan shi na mazan fama yanzu lakar zan na wurin giwa.
Dallatu baba ka ban shawa don ka riƙe talakawa.
Dallatu mai
Kana a
hannun
wuri ni ban zo a wurin kowa. Ka shawara ta lokal gama jihar Ghana da yin haske.
Dallatu mai
Kwamishina ya
hannun
ce ai gwamna damuwa take.
gwamnan shi na
Ana ta
farin
gaga
giwa.
wurta kan tafiya kamar falke.
Dallatu mai
Wasu sai
hannun
ta dawa
girma.
ba sa hana ka komai ba.
Mai halin girma Ibrahim mai talakawa. Dallatin gobe gwamnan shi na mazan fama yanzu lakar gwamnan Sokoto na wurin giwa. Dallatu mai
Dalla take
hannun
yan aiki ya yi ɗara ma turawa.
gwamnan shi na farin
Ina
giwa.
kalman da an ka baka yi daidai.
Dallatu mai
Amanar
hannun
gwamna
girma.
da bai kuntata ma kowa ba.
Masu kallon mu assalamu alaikum. Barkanmu da warhaka da kuma arzikin sake saduwa da ku a cikin shirin a dafa a daka inda masu iya magana sukan ce sai kalwa. Har wa yau suna ya Nafisa Umar Ringi. Ni ce zan gabatar da shirin. A yayin da sabuwar shekarar 2025 ke kamawa, Shirin a dafa a daka ya yi waiwayi domin duba nasarorin da ma'aikatar kula da ƙananan hukumomi da harkokin masarautar jihar Sokoto ta aiwatar a ƙarƙashin jagorancin kwamishina Ibrahim da Adari Dallatin Gobir. Ga rahoton da muka shirya muku.
Kwamishina Ibrahim da Adare ya yi bayanin ayyuka daban-daban da ma'aikatarsa ta aiwatar a cikin shekarar 2024 da ta ƙare.
Gwargwadon iko mun kwatanta kuma mun san mun yi ayyuka waɗanda za su amfani jama'a. Idan muka fara da abin da ya shafi security, mun san lokacin da Allah ya bamu wannan mulkin ƙarƙashin jagorancin mai girma gwamna Dr. Ahmed Aliyu akwai matsalar security ko ina, musamman ƙananan hukumomi 13 waɗanda abin ya shafa. A lokacin da ya zo ya ba da dama ma'aikatan mu ta sun motoci waɗanda aka raba ma ma'aikata kuma irin su sojoji da 'yan sanda domin a tallafa ma jama'a wajen inganta halin da ya shafi tsaro. Ya zo kuma ya ba mu dama an zo an yi training na matasa 2,600 da kowace lokacin gamman guda 13 na aka ɗauki mutum 200 aka ba su training, sannan kuma aka ba su kayan aiki aka mayar da su garuruwansu ko kuma yace ƙananan hukumominsu domin su tallafa wajen inganta tsaro. An gina musu wurin ofis nasu ko wace lokacin cikin lokacin 14. An sai musu babura ko wace lokacin ina kyau su kama an ba su babur guda 50. To sannan kuma an tanadar musu allowance da ake ba su kowane wata. Wannan ya taimaka mana wajen ganin cewa an tallafa ma matsalolin da suka shafi tsaro a cikin jihar Sokoto a ƙarƙashin wannan ma'aikata. Bayan kuma waɗansu ayyuka da ake yi can waɗanda suka shafi su ma na tsaron a ƙarƙashin jiha. Allah ya sani irin makonnin kuɗin da gwamnatin jihar Sokoto ke kashewa wajen al'amarin da ya shafi tsaro. Akwai abubuwa na tsaro waɗanda abubuwa ne na sirri wanda ba dole bane sai an sanar da jama'a, amma dai za ga irin abubuwan da ake yi.
Za ka iya faɗa ka mutum ɗaya zai iya buge mutane 6 a take. Kuna jin waƙar su a ba su ake su ɗauka sako? Na girma gwana a ba su ake.
Cewa madalla, haka ma kwamishina Ibrahim Dadda Adari ya yi bayani a dangane da wasu ɓangarori da muka shirya muku a dangane da bayanin da ya aiwatar.
Dallatin Gobir ya yi ƙarin haske na ayyuka da ma'aikatar kula da ƙananan hukumomi ta aiwatar a wasu ɓangarori.
A bayan wannan abin da ya shahi a koyar da sana'o'i ga matasa da mata, ku shaida ne kun ga abubuwan da muka yi sati kamar uku da suka wuce mun yaye kusan wanda suka koyi waɗannan sana'o'i kusan 500 an ba su kayayyaki na aiki wanda suka shafi kamar aikin tela, aikin wanda, aikin balkanizing na faci kenan da aikin sarka da saƙa irin wani tare, kuma an ba su kuɗi 50,000 kowane su domin yin inganta rayuwar shi. Muna da department na monitoring cikin waɗannan ayyukan da ake akwai wanda mun zo mun bi su har gidajensu mun tabbatar da sun ma koya musu, da aka samu kamar mutum 5 zuwa 10 wanda sun koya ga waɗanda kamin da biyar ɗin na an koya ma kusan mutum 250 wajen waɗannan sana'o'i na hannu bisa ga alƙawarin da shi ne girma gwamnati. To waɗannan abubuwa suna cikin abubuwan da muka, sannan bayan wannan an sai magunguna waɗanda yanzu haka duk wani abu ya taso da ƙananan hukumomi akwai maganin kai tsaye wanda ake ba su, ba sai an yi magana ina za a samu magani. mai girma gwamnan jihar Sokoto Dr. Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto FCNA, ina farin cikin baka wannan tallafi na tela da certificate wanda yake nuna shaidan ka koyi aikin tela ka kare kuma an kare da nasara. Fatan wannan tallafi da za a baka da wannan kayan aiki za ka yi amfani da su domin ka inganta rayuwarka kuma ka taimaka ma na bayanka ka koya musu. Muna fatan Allah madaukakin sarki ya sa albarka a cikin wannan. Sannan bayan wannan da ƙarin kuɗi kuma naira 20,000 da ya taimaka maka wurin sayan kayan ayyuka. Malam Abubakar Dahiru a madadin mai girma gwamnan jihar Sokoto Dr. Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto FCNA, ina farin cikin gabatar da wannan certificate da kuma tela da kuma naira 20,000 shaidan ka kammala wannan koyon aikin tela, wanda wannan zai taimaka maka wajen inganta rayuwarka, kai ma ka yi amfani da wannan dama domin ka koya mana baya gare ka. Kuma muna fatan Allah maɗaukin sarki ya inganta wannan sana'a. Ka tuna wannan shine cikin alƙawallan da mai girma gwamna ya yi na tallafa ma matasa da mata. Ina fatan Allah ya sa albarka a cikin wannan al'amari. Ina farin cikin gabatar da wannan certificate da kuma tela da kuɗi 20,000 wanda ya nuna shaida ne na kin kammala koyon aikin tela. Wannan muna fatan da yadda Allah zai taimaka miki wajen inganta rayuwarki, kuma muna hudu ba akan kema ki kokari koya mana baya gare ki domin su masu amfana. Muna roƙon Allah maɗaukin sarki ya shiga cikin wannan sana'a. Sannan bayan haka kuna